Raccoons do that constantly. I wanted to tell you a story about the time I went to Japan. I don't like flying. I don't like talking to people on planes. I don't even talk to the flight attendants because they lie to you. The first thing they say is a lie. Your safety is our number one concern. No, it's not. No, it's not. Our money is your number one concern. If you cared anything about my safety, why is the seat in front of me made of hard plastic 7 inches from my face? Why is that, huh? Pilot pumps the brakes like, duh! Like, is that safe? Pumps the brake. That's a... I don't think that's how that works. Like someone's up there just tailgating the plane. He's got his hazards on, like, go around. Are there even brakes on a plane? I don't even know. Ooh, brakes on a plane, scary movie. So, I try to avoid talking to people when I fly. There's always someone with their kid in my row. And do I have any parents in the crowd? Yeah? For the parents here, I want to make sure you know this. You're not special. And I'm tired of your garbage. Because parents walk around like having a kid makes you special. And that's not true. Raising a good kid, that makes you special. Just having one, raccoons do that constantly. It takes more effort to order a pizza than it does to have a child. Yeah, no one's ever ordered a pizza by accident. When's that ever happened? Just open your door. How'd this pizza get here? Your parents are there like, oh, pepperoni, what a blessing. Now, because I don't have children, people get mad at me when I talk about children. A gentleman came up to me after a show, livid. Said, until you've understood the pressures of having a child, you can't possibly know what it's like to have a child. And that is true. But I have never flown a helicopter. Yet if I saw one in a tree, I could still be like, dude messed up. Pilot error. Now, my cousin thinks that I'm gonna have children because I have a dog, like it's a gateway drug. Like I'm just there jonesing, like, hey, you got any more of that responsibility? He always says things like, oh, you're just practicing for children. And to him I say, you sound like a bad parent. You should know the difference between dogs and kids. That's day one. For the parents in the crowd tonight, I don't want to get cocky, but I feel like I'd know the difference. I know you never truly know until you have one of your own, but I think the doctor would give me the baby and I would be like, not a dog. Hakuna Matata. It's obvious that dogs and kids are very different. Anyone who has met at least one of each of those things knows that. Dogs are way smarter than kids. Well, I have proof. I own a home, and all my electrical outlets are uncovered. They're just open to the public. My dog's never been like, duh! Like that's never happened, because he's good at being alive. But a child, your child, will stick their finger in an outlet, get shocked, and be like, let me go find a fork. Like, it's insane how bad children are at basic survival. You don't believe me? Put a plastic bag next to one for 15 seconds. I never said walk away. Stick close, you'll be needed in a moment. No kid anywhere in the world has had the smart thought. No kid has ever looked at that bag and thought, well, I could put my things in that bag. Carry them from room to room. Make my life more convenient. No, every kid, no matter where they're from in the world, has that same dumb space helmet. Like every single kid. Even if their country has no space program. Like, how do they know? If you're a parent, you know I'm right. You don't want me to be right, but you know I'm right. You just follow your child around just going, don't die, don't die, don't die, don't die, don't die, don't die. Because you could mess it up emotionally, but you can't let it die. That's the rule. That's the rule. That is the rule. If you kill someone, you're a monster. But if you raise a murderer, you did your best. Like, why aren't you part of that? You taught a murderer how to walk. That's the first part of murdering. Kids will do anything potentially fatal. If there was an after-school program where you could sign up for fatal activities, it would be full instantly. And then empty like a week later. And if you still don't believe me that kids aren't as smart as dogs, answer this. Why has there never been a seeing eye kid? That's a legit question. There's a lot of blind people. There's a ton of kids. No one's ever made that mistake. No one's ever been like, these two together. You know why? If you had a seeing eye kid, you know what else you'd have? Dead blind man. That's what you'd have, yeah. And then a child playing in the middle of the road as traffic whizzes by its dumb face because it doesn't know it's in danger. And at some point, kids do become smarter than dogs. I don't know what age it is. I think it's like 27, 28. I don't know when it happens. Now, there might be some 25-year-olds in this crowd who are offended by that joke. But there are definitely some 25-year-olds in this crowd who did not get that joke. And my point is, if you have a young child at home, you had to get a babysitter just to join us tonight. Yeah. You had to hire another child to watch your child in some sort of a Russian nesting doll of irresponsibility. Why would you trust a 15-year-old with a baby? I wouldn't trust a 15-year-old with a shared cell phone plan. Why would you give it a baby? Because you have no choice. If you don't hire a babysitter, you're stuck at home for 10 years. A decade of house arrest. You have to spend more on your babysitter than you did on tickets just to join us tonight. Meanwhile, my dog is home alone right now. I don't care. You know how great that is? I'm here, my dog's like, I got this, I'm 4. I've already figured this whole thing out. So my point is, I don't like talking to people on planes. My trick is to bring a pillow with me, like a full bedroom pillow. Every flight. And I was flying home from a gig, and I put the pillow down, I put my head down, and the flight attendant comes racing over. And she says, you can't have a pillow in the exit row. And I said, but I do. It appears we're at an impasse. She said, well, what happens if we crash? I said, it'll help. It's a pillow. I don't know if you know much about these, but they're soft, they float. Those are the qualities of something I'd like to bring with me to a plane crash. If I knew that we were gonna crash, I could bring anything in the world. I'd bring a pillow and a second plane. Those would be the 2 things I'd like to have. She said, no, what if we crash and the pillow falls, someone has to get by it, what will you do? I said, oh, in that case, I'll let them step on my pillow. Because I'm not a monster. And you'd have to be for someone to be on fire, screaming, and just say, Could you please watch the pillow? Yeah, burning alive, whatevs. That cost me $8. I won't even be there to say any of that. I'm in the exit row. I'm the first one off the plane. But she keeps at it. She said, no, what if the pillow slows them down? What if a pillow slows someone down during a plane crash? It's their time. Yeah. They're just gonna die in a dumb way tomorrow. Why are we trying to save them? What do we need that person for? Get rid of the weakest link, strengthen the chain. If you can't get by a pillow in a plane crash, be like, I have to get... Ha! Oh no! Help me! Think, Jerry, think. We didn't lose a doctor when that happened, okay? We lost someone dumb enough to not be able to tell the difference between kids and dogs. That's who we lost. My apologies to my cousin. But she kept at it. She kept at it. She said, what if it slows them down? What if it obscures their path? What if it obscures their path? I think you mean obstructs their path. I understand that the word obscures and obstructs, those words start the same, but they get real different. And I don't want you mixing up words. That's the most important part of your job, to know what words mean. You make announcements in times of peril. I need you to know what words mean. I don't want there to be an accident, be like, everyone head toward the explosion. I mean exit, ha-ha. I don't want that. But let's explore what you did mean. What if the pillow obstructs their path or obscures their view of their path? How hilariously tiny are the people on this airplane? That a pillow is gonna stop anyone from getting out during... I've never seen a movie, they get to the end of a tunnel, turn back, it's a pillow! I've never seen that. The dude on the other end of the aisle for me was so big he could Kool-Aid Man his way out of the plane, which was particularly funny because he was wearing all red, but nobody laughed. And she just kept pushing. She said, you're gonna have to give me that pillow. And I said, you're gonna have to give me a good reason. And then she said the strangest thing I've heard in my whole life. She said, crazy things can happen during a plane crash. A paper cut could decapitate someone during a plane crash. What? A paper cut could decapitate someone during a plane crash. Those words in that order on purpose. What else is ping-ponging around her head? Like, I like peanut butter, do you swim? Like, what else is up there? That she landed on a paper cut that could decapitate somebody in a plane crash, and I just said, that's not a thing, because I was out of clever. I'm a pretty quick guy, but the chamber was empty. Well, conversation's a two-way street. I say something that leads you to say something peripherally related to what I just said. But that's not what happened. Because all I said was, you're gonna have to give me a good reason. I didn't say something that'll mess me up for 10 years. I didn't say that. But that's what she heard. Because she said a paper cut could decapitate somebody in a plane crash. And I wish I had thought about it. I would have said something smarter. I'd have said, no! No! I will not accept the premise that paper could decapitate somebody in a plane crash. I'll accept the premise that paper, at the exact right velocity, at the exact right angle, could sever a vein, you could bleed out. But paper is not going through bone. Paper is not going through bone. If it could, paper, rock, scissors would finally make sense. But it doesn't. And it never will. And why are we talking about paper? We're talking about pillows a second ago. There's paper everywhere in this airplane. There's a Sky Mall in front of me. There's a Sudoku in front of me. There's a dude in 7B with the USA Today that's gonna decapitate every last one of us. Your safety instructions are written on a piece of paper. But I did not have all that. So I just said, that's not a thing. But the crazy train had a second stop to make. Because she said, you don't know, you've never been in a plane crash. And I said, well, you're talking to me, so you haven't either. I'm assuming she's not the survivor of a crash we never heard of, just the great paper cut crash of 2012. And we never heard about it because the news didn't run anything about it. They weren't right to her house. They tried. They were like, we have a few questions for you. She said, who are you? They said, we're with the paper. She said, I'm afraid of paper. And then they never got the story. Now she goes to work every day surrounded by a mountain of Sudokus and Sky Malls, and she perseveres even though she has PTSD, which is very serious, paper traumatic stress disorder. It's incredibly serious, makes opening letters very difficult for her, but she perseveres because she's an American hero. Or she's a nutball on a power trip. Probably that one. So I gave her the pillow. I just wanted it to be over. There's no arguing with unearned authority. So I gave her the pillow, and it was over for about 3 seconds. Because I gave her the pillow, I put my sleep mask on, and she shook me, which is assault, but she shook me. And she said, you're gonna have to give me that sleep mask. And I lost my mind. Are you kidding me? I was like, are people gonna have a problem getting by this also? Is caught on a rubber band gonna kill everybody in the airplane? So well, what happens if you have to take it off? If you crash, you have to take it off. I said, then I'll take it off. It's not locked. What are you talking about? It's a magic trick. Waha! What is the problem? She said, well, anything that slows you down could kill you. I said, why did you just put me in a seatbelt, you murderer? She said, well, what happens if we crash and you're asleep? What will you do? I said, I will wake up. That's what I'll do. I'm not sleeping through a plane crash. What kind of narcoleptic family do you have that you think I could sleep through a plane crash? Everyone around me's on fire, screaming. I'm like, 5 more minutes, mommy. Do you think that's a possibility? Also, if we crash and I'm asleep, don't wake me. Who wakes someone up to die? Be like, hey, sleepyhead. Yeah, you almost missed all this. You were gonna die without knowing. We wanted to make sure that you died with fear in your heart. We understand that you have a choice when it comes to air travel. We'd like to thank you for flying United. So, I was going to Japan. I get distracted. I was going to Japan, and I was actually happy when I was going to Japan. I was actually in a good mood in the airport. And my good mood gets derailed because a woman with a dog just pooping in the airport. The dog was pooping. I want to make sure we're on the same page. I don't want to confuse any creative types. The woman was on FaceTime ignoring the dog. That was the problem. I'm a dog person. But you gotta pay attention to your dog. She's on FaceTime ignoring the dog, and someone tries to get her attention very politely and just says, Miss, your dog. The woman looks away from her phone, looks at the guy, looks back at her phone and says, some people are so rude. I know, we're like, this woman dies today. Like, this is exciting. But she starts to walk away. She starts to leave. And someone else tries to stop her and goes, Miss, you have to clean up after yourself. She says, oh, they have people for that. If you ever say that about cleaning up after yourself, they have people for that, well, we should all beat the hell out of you because they got doctors. So now I'm left guarding the dog poop. That wasn't on the itinerary that Delta sent me. But I have to guard it. Because if I don't, someone's gonna wheel their bag right into it. Because you don't walk through an airport expecting to see that on the ground. You don't walk through an airport and be like, oh, hope there's no dog poop on the ground. Like, no, you walk through an airport just going, Cinnabon! Like, that's all you do. So I'm guarding the poop. That's a real sentence from my life. I'm guarding the poop. Maintenance comes over, they clean it up. And I thought, okay, now I can go to my gate. Now I can go to Japan. Now I can be happy. But I couldn't be happy because this woman was at my gate. She was also going to Tokyo, and she has now done something even worse than what she's already done. What could you possibly do that's worse than what she's already done? Something that some of you in this room have done tonight. You might not admit to it, but you've done it. I don't ever want to see you do it again. This ends now. She was listening to music in a public space with no headphones on. Don't ever do that.
Don't ever do that!
We don't need you to be our airport DJ. They're playing smooth jazz, okay? They got us covered. How inconsiderate of a human being is this person? I picture a car parked diagonally across 3 parking spaces, just with paint on the bumper from the tricycle she hit, just a total jerk. Now, most people are avoiding her because she's loud, she's obnoxious, but I sit down next to Cruella, and I have a little bit of fun. I say, "Are you going to London on business?" To which she says, "I'm going to Tokyo." To which I say, "Oh, no. That flight's moved to gate 53C. This is the flight to London." Now, that's fun for a lot of reasons. The main one is I want to give her a little bit of panic. You know the panic I'm talking about when you think you're wrong? The little in your life? Like every time I've checked into a hotel, it takes them 1 extra second to find Hofstetter. I'm like, is this hotel even real? Like that panic. I thought it would last a couple of seconds. I figured she'd get up, she'd check the monitor, see it still said Japan. She'd talk to the gate agent. Gate agent would be like, "Yes, this is the flight to Japan." She would look around the gate and see that everyone except for me was Japanese. How do you miss that one? What does she think I'm doing there? Like, oh, this redhead's taking all these Japanese people to London. What an interesting day. But she doesn't do any of that. She just gets up and walks away. Just leaves. Doesn't even thank me, which I thought was rude. But just leaves. Clear out of the terminal. So I stood up, and I boarded the plane. And I don't know what happened. How could I know? I was in Japan. I don't know what happened. I know that I was happy. I do know a few more things. I know that she did not make my flight. Now, I know that for a couple of reasons. One, I was sitting up front. I'd have noticed her if she walked by. But more important, we were delayed for about 20 minutes. Now, if you don't fly much, you might think that that's the plane waiting for her. That's adorable. Planes don't wait for people individually. They will resell your seat while you're sitting in it. But if you've already checked a bag and then you miss your flight, for safety reasons, they have to take the time to take the bag off. And that process takes about 20 minutes. So I'm just sitting there laughing. Everyone else is getting upset about the delay. They're like, why were we on the tarmacs for so long? I'm like, you have no idea what I just did for you. You have no idea. I'm not the hero you deserve, but I'm the one you need. I know 2 more things. I know LAX very well. I know that airport so well that offhand, I know there is no gate 53C. I also know that Delta only has 1 flight from LA to Tokyo per day. That was the one that I was on. Now, it's possible they rebooked her onto another airline. That can happen, right? I hope it was United and they beat the hell out of her. I hope so. Because they have people for that. And Japan was pretty cool. Have a good night.
Local man robs Wendy's with alligator. We're the alligator boys now.